Hello. This video chronicles my plan for learning how to 3-look squan, along with a lot of general information. So if you're in a similar boat as me, or just curious, you can learn from it too. My overall goal for Square-1 is to learn 3-look. This is something ambitious to say for someone hardly sub 25 on a good day. However, Square-1 is the puzzle which I find the most interesting and have been most persistent in. Sure, I'm sub 15 on 3x3, but after learning OLL and PLL, I haven't cared for getting better. But okay, what's there to learn? Square-1 improvement up to, say, sub 15 is pretty straightforward as far as I'm concerned. Learn beginner's method. Learn intermediate cube shape. Learn all the EO and CP algs. Learn more tricks for EP. Get better at turning. But eventually, with this method, a wall begins to form. Thankfully, there's 3 magical solutions to these problems. You'd notice after getting faster that parity becomes a bigger and bigger issue. The algs are long and can be done fast, but avoiding it would be essential for good averages. Otherwise, you'd need a whole lot of luck. Cube shape parity avoids parity in, well, cube shape. In the method, you count the number of parities by 6 different metrics. If the number is even, you do one alg, and if it's odd, you do another. But note well, the algs are really just intuitive solutions. Still, it's 180 different algs to learn, and can seem daunting. Another wall comes in the relatively large pauses and slice counts it takes to do CP-EP. CP can be done quickly, and in not too many slices, 3 to 6. But get a bad EP, and even if you know all 99 algs, the slice count can still be abysmal. PBL stands for permute both layers, and at its core is 967 algs of pure vileness concentrate. Or at least that's how I view it. The only person I've heard to use full PBL for a fact is Drippy Cuber, and I can't imagine there are many more. So, what do people learn? 2 alg PBL, which is in essence using 1 alg to give you a better PBL, and another to solve the cube. So why use 2 alg PBL if you'll be doing 2 algorithms anyway with full CP-EP? Slice count. And ergonomics. And minimizing bad cases. It's pretty good. There's no single number for how many algorithms are in 2 alg PBL, but the Oceanic champion said like 55, so we'll go with that. A final problem lies in CO-EO. It's slow. CO is fully intuitive, yeah, but wasting a pause to determine the solution while also having to break up what you've just made to put it back together in EO sucks! If only there was a better way! Or as the Romans would have said it, utina mentula in meo ora esset. Trust me. Thankfully, OBL, or Oregon both layers, fixes this. Slice counts drop in half, with 6 being the maximum. Solutions are intuitive, and at the end of the day, excluding mirrors, there are only 73 cases. Also, it's rad as hell, and when I see good bunny bunny, I say out loud, "Oh, so cute," and then I snuggle up right next to them and pat their little ears. Anyway, yeah, great method. So now this circles back to me. A terrible excuse for a human who thinks they can learn an advanced method on the funny cube not a cube. Alright, but where to start? Well, as a reminder, here are the 3 methods: CSP, OBL, and PBL. In one sense, you could organize them like this. This is because, truly, CSP is a prerequisite to PBL. That is, unless you fancy looking for parity in PBL, predicting what the new PBL will be, and then executing, which you shouldn't. OBL, on the other hand, can be learned completely independently. So as for where to start, that narrows it down to CSP and OBL. The way I see it, CSP is the most beneficial method of the 3, and OBL is the easiest. As far as I'm concerned, learning OBL is just watching through the Oxawaki videos and then using a trainer. There's not a single algorithm to learn, it's all just intuitive. Over time, and after a lot of practice, the OBLs will start to enter muscle memory, and that's that. CSP being the most beneficial makes a strong case. It's a better skill to have, and probably takes a lot more practice. Being able to count parities and recall the correct execution in under 15 seconds of inspection takes a lot of time, so it's probably best to start as soon as possible. You need to remember what pieces to start counting from. You need to remove the thinking aspect out of the color orders, which indicate parity. You need to be able to accurately keep track of whether it's odd or even while counting. It's a much more impressive skill, but also a lot more daunting. By the time I'm writing this, I've already learned the 2 and 3 slicer OBLs. The process is simple, but it has set in just how much training it would take to start doing these by muscle memory, and not just intuitively. CO-EO just isn't a big enough time waste in solves to warrant learning OBL first, I think. So that's that. Learn CSP first, you'll thank yourself later, I hope. Unless you think that the learning process for CSP will make you less likely to cube in the future, assuming that's something you'd want to avoid. It's important to remember that cubing is a thing done for fun, so if you aren't having fun, don't sweat it. But I think learning CSP first is something I'd still like to do, even if I'm more partial to OBL. As for how to learn OBL and PBL, the answer is simple to me. Oxawaki has his OBL series and CubeMaster has his PBL series. I'd just follow along. After that, Matt has compiled on his GitHub these two trainers. The PBL one was made by @BQRO, and the OBL trainer was a fork of the PBL one made by Matt himself. As for CSP, there are a few tutorials online detailing the many cases, but I think since the alg set is much bigger and it's still relatively intuitive, I'll just use the SquanMate CSP alg sheet. Everything I've mentioned will be in the description, by the way. I wanted to make this video mainly for myself, to reference back to, and for later reflection. I plan to use this channel to detail my journey for learning Squan, and if I ever quit, this could give me an opportunity to remember my ambition and come back. The script was written on a whim, and I'm sure I forgot to say many things I wanted to say. In the event of that, I'll probably edit the description. Cura ut valeas. Love you, bye.